I'm from outer space. I'm an alien from outer space, and this is to where we're beginning the story. Welcome to this brand new YouTube channel situation that we've got going on here. Why am I here? Why am I here? Good question. This is just kind of where I'm at, what we're doing, where I hope to go from here. You can grab a beverage, have a seat, and get cozy, because that's all we're doing. We're just gonna sit around at my little library table and we're gonna have a chit chat. Alright, so why am I starting a YouTube channel? This is a very good place to start, probably. We all know by now that there is a pandemic situation going on in the world at large. And about 2 weeks ago, Minnesota, where I live, has gone into the sort of self-isolation lockdown that kind of everyone else has. And there's kind of been this like prevailing reaction to the new self-isolation practice that I've heard, wherein folks are generally just struggling to adjust. What maybe no one expected is that my own life has essentially not changed at all. My life is already tremendously self-isolated to begin with, and it took everyone else going into self-isolation and just complaining about it for me to realize actually how bad it has gotten since like high school, maybe before, I don't actually know. Self-isolative practices are easier to ignore when you have to be out in social situations. Regardless, when you're surrounded by people, it doesn't feel like you are isolated, even though everyone is like, they're held at arm's length, but they're still there, so I just kind of constantly had this feeling of like, I just want everyone to go away. I just want to be alone. I very much attributed that to being introverted, but I think it's like a step beyond that, where I just am eternally terrified and kind of bad at social interaction, and it just, oh my goodness, I don't even know what else to say about that. So why am I starting a YouTube channel? Well, this is my valiant attempt to venture outside of my own teeny tiny personal bubble box and find maybe a few like-minded people to build a community with, because I do crave that, and it's very hard to find. Venturing out via YouTube kind of potentially gives me a very much bigger platform to find people than anything I probably could be doing by going out physically to meet up with people, if that was even an option at this point in time. This way I can just still be in my own little space, but I can like intellectually reach out and kind of share what I'm doing and try to get some feedback. So a lot of my interests lie in sewing and crafting and generally making stuff with my hands. And what I want to do is kind of take you on that journey with me, making each of the things that I will be making. More on that later. When I was a lot younger, I had a lot of people kind of always say to me like, oh, you're so talented, and oh, you're so good at this, whatever. And now I kind of I don't think I process it when people say stuff like that anyway, because I don't think anyone really that is saying very vague things like that, they don't really understand like what goes into making something. And so it's great to have that kind of superficial feedback of like, I am doing a good job in general, like I'm being supported, and that's great. But that really only goes so far. It's one thing for people to be like momentarily pleased by the thing that you made, and it's another thing for them to like participate in it and get engaged and like collaborate with you on a thing. Encouragement is great, but there comes a point where I need the participation of like a community or a friend group that I just haven't had since like high school. And I've definitely found myself getting stuck in projects or basically any sort of creative thinking. I get stuck because I only have really me to bounce stuff off of. Because I'm the only one that I know who knows as much about the things that I know about as I do. Did that make sense? I hope so. So that is the purpose of this YouTube channel, is hopefully establishing some kind of community where that will reach out to me and I can reach out to them and we can have a conversation about the kind of things that I want to talk about and want to do, and I want to be able to kind of like take you on this kind of journey of how I figure out how to do stuff and how I research and learn and experiment and just kind of all of that creative process. I would like to share it and create a dialogue. Most of what this channel is probably going to consist of then is a lot of process vlogs. Just taking you kind of step by step through, mostly going to be sewing projects of some kind, or some other kind of craft that is related to fabric, because that is most of what I do in my free time. I have a lot of sewing projects lined up for myself constantly that just, boy, when am I gonna have the time to do any of these things? Apparently right now would be a great time to start. So yeah, that, and some of it's probably just gonna be us sitting here in my library, and I'm gonna talk about some kind of fun stuff that I've researched, and whatever else that I find interesting that's kind of related to the craft ideas that I have going on at the time, because I don't really have a lot of opportunity in my daily life to just do that. Yeah, there we are. If you are a historical costumer, a theatrical costumer, cosplayer, LARPer, or other RPG adjacent things, if you want to make your own kind of daily wardrobe, or you like history bounding, all of that kind of stuff, there will likely be something of interest here for you. Probably some things I won't be doing, in case that's where your interest is and you kind of expect that. The things I will not really be doing is probably a lot of very historical construction methods. I don't like hand sewing. I don't have the patience for that, and so if you're looking for like hardcore historical accuracy in every stitch of a project, this is not going to be the place. I'm sorry. And if you're a very beginner and you're looking for the very basic tutorials on like how to thread a sewing machine, or I don't know, something like that. This is also not really going to be the place. I know there's other like super great resources out there already, and so like it's been done, and that's fine. It's out there. I'm satisfied with that. And I also like, I learned that stuff when I was like 8 years old, and it's just like very old news at this point. I don't so much want to take you through the things that I learned, what, 18 years ago? I don't really need to revisit that. I just kind of want to take you along on the ride of what I'm learning now at 26. Wow, that's a long time ago. Jeez, I'm old. When did I get this old? I'm actually not 26 yet. I'll be 26 at the end of May. Just to clear that up. Real soon. But not yet. The main thing I'm going to kind of do is costume related topics. But that probably won't be everything, because this is going to just be like a creative outlet sort of in general, and a conversation that I'm having about my life to some extent. I'm sitting in a library, so like I enjoy books, I enjoy storytelling. I will probably do some random cooking or gardening experiments. I'm a super amateur gardener. We being my husband and I, we go to Renaissance festivals, so we may do that. I'll probably have a little tour sort of vlog situation about those, and I'll probably go camping at some point, so I'll probably have vlogs about that sort of stuff as well. Probably some random little around the house projects. I don't know. The possibilities are boundless, and that is kind of the point. So I hope this gives you kind of a little bit more of an idea of what I'm doing here. I think my next video is actually going to be me making something for my cat. More on that later. And yeah, I hope someone sticks around. I hope this happens. Do I hope to be able to do this as like an occupation at some point? Oh yes. Oh yes, I would love to do my own random ass projects and have that sustain my life. That would be sweet. Doesn't super help with the whole self-isolation thing that I just talked about, because I could just like stay home all the time. But at least if I can gather some feedback, start a dialogue through this medium, and kind of create a little community for me and you and whoever all crafty people kind of end up here, that would be super great, and I would super love it. And that's all I got for now. I'll think of a catchy intro and outro both later on in my life. Bye for now. Camera over. Oh no, it's gone. I need some waffles.